Okay, what's going on, boys? In today's video we're going to show you the basics of passing, because everyone always gets it wrong, and sometimes it's the most basic things that people always forget how to use. So the first one is a regular X pass. I'm pretty sure everyone knows about this pass. The most important thing when you're making this pass is, of course, to face the player. That is, of course, the most important thing, but you can see it's very simple. As you press the player and then you make a pass, take a shot towards goal there, and of course the more power you apply, the more power the pass will have. So the longer you hold the A button or the X button, the more power that will be applied. So that is the regular pass. So normally in tight situations, a regular pass is very effective, and generally this is probably the most used pass in the game. The second one is a 1-2. That's when you hold the L1 button and you press the X. Now when you do that, the player that makes the pass makes a run in behind. Now obviously you can't see these in skill games. That's why I wanted to show you in skill games. It doesn't really work. So don't try these out in skill games. If I was you, just go into a kickoff game. This is the best way I can advise you to use it, because if you're playing online, sometimes you might not have time to try it inside the game. And the good thing with the kickoff is you can actually use instant replay, so you can actually rewind it. So completely select side, just going to go into any team, Marseille, that's completely fine. Then go on a PS5 version. So like here you can see, skip this. Okay, so my opponent's got the ball. I'm going to get the ball back from my opponent. In fact, you know what, just to avoid this, let me quickly select sides. Gonna switch sides and change that. Don't worry, that's the default controls, don't worry. Okay, so when I got the ball over here, you can see a regular X pass is the one that I said. Very good for passing and moving. The key thing is facing the player and then making a pass, as you can see. And that's why you have to be very careful. If you're, for example, facing this way and you make a pass going backwards, there's a very high chance of failure. As long as you have space available, you can do it, otherwise you should never do it. The next is a 1-2. Now if you hold the L1 button and hold the X button, the player that made the pass makes a run in behind. So watch Verratti. See how Verratti makes a run in behind? So a regular pass, they just pass and they stand still, to hover around their position. You do an L1X pass, see how Ramos makes a run in behind? So if I pass to this player with the L1X, this player on the ball will be making a run going forward. So L1X is really good if you're trying to make 1-2 positions. Like let's, for example, trying to go here, you want that guy to make a run, then you're trying to make a pass back to him, something like that. That's when a 1-2 is very effective. It's also very effective inside the box as well. So if you're like, for example, like here, you do like, it's kind of like a give and go. It's very effective. And if you ever fail, you just go to instant replay. And you can literally, the benefit is you can literally press a touchpad. I'm pressing a touchpad here, and you can actually do the instant replay, instant rewind, which is actually a very good effective feature. That way you can replay scenarios. It doesn't work because I select sides, but the next one is a through ball. So through ball is very good if you want to make a ball into space. And this should only be used if there's a player making a run into space and you want to make a pass to them. So for example, like here, I didn't want the ball to go to Neymar's feet. I wanted the ball to go in front of him so my player can run onto it. Do you see that? So if you want to play the ball in front of the player, you do a very simple triangle, which is the through ball. You have to be very careful with these though, because if you do them in the wrong, like for example, like here in the final third, you do them in the wrong position, you could lose the ball. So you got to be very careful about how you do use them. So make sure you use them not avidly, I would say, just like don't spam it like this. As you see, I got very lucky there, but inside the box you don't want to be using it over here. But let's say there's space for me to run onto, like there, it's very effective. Likewise, you have the lofted pass, which is the same as a regular pass, except for it's a lofted variation. See that? And this is good if there's a player in the way and you want to make a pass, and the pass in a sense avoids the player. And the reason for that is, if I go to instant replay, ignore the controllers, you can see if I don't press the X button, the ball just bounces, and this is very effective because it's harder for your opponent to get the ball. If your opponent was standing here, he could potentially take the leg out and get the ball, but when the ball is in the air, it's lofted and around knee height, the opponent doesn't get the ball. So all the animations lock on. So a lofted pass is very good if there's a player in the way and you want to make a pass, and it's a bit risky than a normal pass. You can do it like that, so like this, and again, Don't forget, when you touch this, it's a bit harder to control, so don't overuse it. And because there's someone in front of you, you can't just spam the double lofted pass. It doesn't work every single time. You still need somewhat of an angle. So if you know there's a situation where a normal pass won't make it, very simply, all you want to do from then is you just want to do a lofted pass. So again, if you face a player and you do it, you can see that it's not always guaranteed, but if there's an angle, you are fine. The next one I want to go over the lofted through ball, the exact same thing. As you can see, like here, there's space available. So I'm just going to show you again. So sometimes you want to make a through ball, right? And if you make a through ball, there's a chance that your opponent might get the ball. Like the earlier Neymar example, I was lucky my player didn't get the ball. So in this situation, do a lofted through, which is a double triangle. So you can see the exact same things. You have a normal pass, 1, 2, then you have a lofted pass, and then you have a lofted through ball, double triangle, you can see. And again, the ball goes kneecap level, and you can get the ball going forward in these situations. So it's very, very effective. Double triangle is only if there's, again, space in front of you, or if you're making a 1, 2 and that player is making a run in behind. Otherwise, don't do it. And it's all about timing. And then you have like just some other basic passes. You have, of course, the lob through ball pass. So I'll show you. So lob through ball is the L1 plus triangle. If someone running in behind, you do an L1 plus triangle like that. And as you can see, the ball went to the player's feet. So when I got the ball over here, I held the L1 button and I pressed the triangle button, and it's the same thing as a through ball, except for it's a lob through ball. So the ball goes in the air and lands down. So that's L1 plus triangle, or LB plus Y if you're on the Xbox. A very, very effective way of making a pass in behind in the space. You may have seen the L1 double triangle as well, which is basically, as it stands, it's kind of like a glitched pass right now. So if you do L1 double tap triangle, the ball has a perfect amount of power. Do you see that there? So I just literally tapped the L1. So the first one, I pressed the L1 and I held the triangle button to apply power. This one, I pressed the L1 button and I double tap triangle with literally no power. And you see how the game automatically passed it. Look where I'm aiming it. I literally double tapped L1 plus triangle, triangle. Very little power. Quick double tap like this. Like that. Like that sound. And then as you can see, I aimed downwards and the ball basically redirected it perfectly into the trajectory that I wanted to go in. See that? So it's kind of like an aim lock pass, L1. As long as you're facing the player, there's no one else in contention. L1 plus double tap triangle, you'll basically always do a lob pass perfectly in the feet of that player. And then the last one is, of course, a driven pass. So a driven pass is the exact same thing as a regular pass, except for there's more power in it. That means that if you pass the ball, it's harder for you to control. See that? How the player stutters? So like if you have a lot of power on it, it's good for getting the ball across, but you can't abuse it like as you can see. But if you want to quickly move the ball quickly in between the spaces, it's effective. But you can see when a player controls it, he hasn't got the best of control. So the ball is basically not bobbling, but the ball can have some velocity on it. So it's quite hard to control. And of course you can't abuse it. So like, you know, if there's someone in the way, you can't get that ball to that player every single time. Likewise, you have the same thing with the through ball variation. So you have a driven through ball, the exact same thing. So let's say there's a player running down the wing. You want to do a lofted, driven through ball or a lofted through ball. So I'll show you, for example, like here, 1, 2. I'm going to do it again, R1 plus triangle. And as you can see, this time the ball curves around. So it's a very, very, very good pass. So you can see here in instant replay, get the ball up there. And as you can see there, do an R1 plus triangle. Instead of a through ball normally goes to the player, driven through ball normally goes around. It's good for going around the outside. And as you can see, there's a lot of curve on the ball. You see that? So that's why it's very, very effective. Don't forget that all the passing stats are very important. The longer the pass, long passing takes more of an influence. The shorter the distance, of course, then short pass takes influence. This year they changed it though. So passing is dependent on all the stats together. This is just a quick video on my channel, but on my main channel I'll have like a complete overhaul on how this works. So if you're on my Patreon, patreon.com/NoGuides, you'll see this complete overhaul. But the passing stats, generally passing takes an aggregation of all the passing stats together. And the last one, you have a cross, where you literally just press the square button, and then you just so you press the square button and you literally lob the ball. So you can lob it from field to field. So you could, for example, lob it from this side of the pitch to that side of the pitch. As you can see, that's like a lob. As you can see, you can lob it anywhere. It's beautiful because like the L1 triangle gets the ball just in front of you, but if you want to lob the ball directly to the player's feet, it's perfect. See that, for switching the ball, wasting time, it's very effective. And then you have the L1 lob, which is basically the same thing except for the ball just goes a bit higher. See that, it's very much the same. They've changed it now. But then you have, of course, the R1 lob, which is the same thing. So remember I said you have a driven pass as well. You also have the driven lob as well, and that is very effective. It's kind of like a mid-level. As you can see, it's a very high velocity pass, but the ball travels around about the chest or torso level. You see that? So it doesn't give the height. So like, for example, normal lob pass gives you the height. See that? It normally just has a bit more vigor, so you want to lob the ball back, for example, to the goalkeeper. It's very effective. And then of course, when you get the ball into a crossing situation, you then have a cross button, but have that for another video. But let's say you go, for example, like here, and you see someone inside the box, it can be used, of course, to cross the ball as well, but that'll be in another video. Anyway guys, that is the basics of passing. Thanks for watching, take it easy, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.